wouldn't normally dump firewood on the stones of my driveway, but I am running out of room. My firewood slab is full and my trailers are full, but we still needed a place to go with all this white oak. You might have seen us cut this down in a video from a couple weeks ago, but if not, you should go check it out. Anyway, this is where the rest of the wood got dumped, and I need to get it all cleaned up and out of the way. Yes, please. We're going to be putting the Eastonmade Axis to the test with some of these giant rounds, and I'll admit, I'm a little nervous about how wet these might be. Now granted, everything I stack in the back of my firewood lean-to probably won't get burned until about 8 months from now, so it'll have some time to dry. But I'm curious, so I bought a moisture meter to do some testing for some initial readings now, and then we'll test it again when it's time to burn it to see how much it dried down. Plus, I think Dad's got a new custom accessory all ready for the Axis wood splitter, and I'm excited to see how that's going to work. All right, well, I'm going to jump on the 755 and start feeding that splitter. Hopefully you'll stick around to check it out.
Dig, dry, DIY.
Well, that splitter handled those rounds really no problem. The biggest issue is me being able to get them maneuvered on the table and making sure they don't tip over in my direction. But I got 2 of the biggest pieces through there and it split them up no problem. So what I'm going to do right now is try to minimize my time between trips to the wood pile and to the splitter. All right, I got this stuff staged a little bit better now. I've got some placed in front of the splitter as well. Now I think I can fire up the splitter and just work for a little while and that'll work for now. All right, for those who watch on the regular, you saw a couple weeks ago I tried to repurpose a dolly that Dad had made way back in the spring to move some bleachers. It didn't work out so well, but Dad's back with something else to try. We don't need to move yet, but we want to test it out. We want to get it under there. So we're going to use the old dolly to actually get it moved back, and then we're going to try out his new setup. It moves pretty easy with 2 people in one direction. Okay, so out with the old dolly that didn't work right. Too many swivelly wheels.
Now you have to keep in mind, it took WD 45 times to get it right. This is only my second.
45. Oh, WD 40. All right, so this is your first try. Ooh, I like it. Ah, it's gonna be a tricycle tractor. It's even painted orange. Oh, that's the handle.
Yeah, we may have to cut this off. It might be too long, I don't know.
Looks good. Well, first of all, I want to mention that a lot of people had a lot of great ideas in terms of how we could maybe solve this. Probably the number one idea was to put like car dollies underneath the main trailer tires of the splitter. And that's a good idea, and that would allow us to move side to side pretty easily if this was always clean and free of debris. But as you saw, it's usually going to be full of wood chips. So we kind of need a bigger tire, and I think this is going to be the right approach. Another idea was to put, you know, wheels on the bottom of the jacks, and that could work too, but I think for the same reasons, with all the debris on the floor, it would still create an issue. Plus, I'd have to spend a bunch of money to buy, you know, those jacks are 150 bucks a piece. Those would work, but I'm more in tune with like spending $0, and I think that's still where we're at, because Dad did this. Dad built both of these. I haven't spent anything. Some people said, you know, put wheels up front, swivel wheels underneath the hitch, and I think this might be a good solution. So we're just going to take this tongue out. When we're using it over here, we don't need the tongue anyway. So we're going to put this in its place, right?
Yeah.
We got to decide where we want to drill a hole.
Yeah.
I think that the farther out it is, the easier it's going to be to wheel it around. These are really hard rubber. They're pneumatic tires, but they're really hard rubber. Actually, these came from where my father-in-law used to work, where they built go-karts. So those are another freebie set of tires. And this is probably all mostly scrap, isn't it?
That's all I got.
I'd say about right there.
May have to take that off when you get up to the walls. Won't raise up far enough.
Well, it can lay down on the ground.
Yeah, you could lay on the ground.
You want to test it first, or you want to drill a hole?
Well, I imagine we're going to have to make it secure so it don't slide out.
Hole is drilled. Are you nervous?
A little bit. See where the defects are.
Okay, load test number 1. Is this designed to be level when it's on the wheels, or just under level, so that when you jack it up, it takes the weight off of it?
Well, I made, where you had it setting, I made it the same height as what the other hitch was, 17 inches to the top.
Oh yeah, it moves easily. Yeah, that's what I had in mind.
There's about 40 pounds of air in them tires.
Really?
Yeah. They say they're good for 50.
Well, you try it.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice job. And if you have 2 people,
Yeah, it'd be a whole lot easier.
I'll help you start it. Oh yeah, it just pivots around real easy. Here we go. All right, that's nice, Dad. What?
You're never sure until you put it to the smoke test.
I'd say it works great. It works way better than the 4-wheel did.
Oh yeah, by far. By some chance Eastonmade are interested, they can contact me. We may have to throw a blanket over it so they can't take pictures of it.
You hear that, Andrew? So I'll just pull it sideways. Okay. Say, I'm gonna steer that wheel onto that crack over there. Easy. Took 30 seconds to move it.
Not quite square. This side here needs,
Like that?
yeah. Well, is it a go?
You gotta come out here and do it. It's a go. It's very good. That's exactly what I had in mind. See, a lot of people said Dad had come up with something for it, and they're right. All right, well now it's back to where it was when I started, but now I can move it by myself. I'm gonna split another couple rows here, and then we'll try it for real. I'll have to move it for real. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's a good fix, man. Well, I've been saving on gym memberships since 1985 by splitting wood. Today is no exception. It wasn't that hot out, but I've worked up a sweat, and well, I'm glad I got through some of that big stuff. That is probably the top end of what I want to do. Some of these chunks were incredibly huge. They've all been cut kind of to various lengths, so there's a little bit of variability there, but for the most part, the diameter was at the high end of what you're going to be able to do on the Eastonmade Axis without them tipping off the table. So fortunately, there's still no heavy lifting. My back isn't sore. I was doing everything with my upper body, my shoulders, and my chest. Still, this is a good way to split wood for me by myself. Now, if I'd have had the backhoe splitter on my backhoe right now, I probably would have chunked a few of these down into halves, and it would have made them easier to handle because it was just very difficult to get them spun around sometimes. You know, it wouldn't split the piece all the way through 100% on the first try, and I'd have to try to turn it 180 degrees, and that was difficult to do. So I'm glad I'm through those. Those are some of the largest chunks. I've still got a few big ones on the trailer, but I'll get to those eventually. Okay, so one thing that I've never really talked about before in terms of my firewood, but it's been mentioned a bunch in the comments, is moisture content. But I know a lot of people are gonna freak out because we just cut this tree down a couple weeks ago and I'm gonna burn it yet this winter. But I'm stacking my greenest wood in the very back of my lean-to. I'm hoping it gets some drying time before then, but I'm doing an experiment. I've never really checked moisture before, so I went on Amazon and I bought this cheap little moisture tester, and I was going through and experimenting where it gives me different readings. Obviously in the ends it's the driest, and in the center of the log on the split side is the wettest. I had some that were as much as 55%, the ones I just cut today. Interestingly, the ones I split just a couple of days ago are already 23, 24% in the center. So it's done a lot of drying in a short amount of time by just being split open and placed in the barn. So I have written down some measurements that I took today, August 13th, and we're gonna see what those look like 8-9 months from now when it comes time to burn this back firewood. Everyone says they try to target less than 20%. I don't know, what are your thoughts there? I've never worried about it. If I had dry season firewood to put in here and burn, that's what I would do. But this is all I've got. So I'm putting the wettest stuff in the back, and then as I get out to the slab where the rest of my pile is, I'm hopefully gonna put the driest stuff up front. So that's the plan, we'll see how it goes. Well, I got a pretty good jump on my firewood stack for this season so far, even though it is a little bit green. Really, before I can go any farther with the wood that's laying in the driveway, I need to get the chainsaw out and cut those up. I don't wanna cut them in the driveway because it's gonna make a lot of sawdust, so I'll move them out somewhere, get them cut down to length, and then we'll go through the rest of them. So Dad's new dolly works great, the moisture meter works great, but I wanna thank you so much for being here this week. Appreciate you clicking on this video. I hope that you liked it. If I'm lucky, I'll see you next week. All right, thanks a lot for watching. So the question is, will I get shot in the making of this video? Dang, we're under attack! Still shooting.